What's up, guys? Time for another daily grind and a decent cup of coffee. Sorry about the intermittent signal there at the beginning. I had to stop and restart, drop frames. Anyway, let's get on with this. Welcome back to the daily grind. As I said, if you're joining us here on Twitch, do let me know in chat. I have got chat window open, so if there is anything you guys want me to talk about, do let me know. Or if you want to tweet us, obviously you can tweet us at the Kilobits. But first of all, let's jump into this and Just Cause news. I know it's pretty slow news day, so I thought I'd start off with what there is anyway. Yeah, Just Cause 3 obviously came out Tuesday. Fran has actually been playing it for us. Unfortunately, she's had a few problems recording. Whether that's anything to do with all the glitches people have been experiencing. But anyway, the actual community manager for Just Cause 3, global community manager Petra Oplevov, I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, has kind of acknowledged that there are all these bugs and that, and has said there is a patch coming. Essentially, the actual quote was, "We know you're going to want specific information on when a patch will land and what will be fixed. We would love to give you that information, and we will as soon as we have it." So it's essentially a placeholder to tell people, yeah, we know it's a bit buggy, we're working on it. A lot of people have kind of attributed the fact that there are glitches and problems with it to the fact that Just Cause 3, even though it's Avalanche, and Avalanche obviously released Mad Max earlier in the year, it's actually their kind of B team. The difference between the two, Avalanche, Mad Max was developed by the guys in Stockholm, the kind of the main team there, whereas Just Cause 3 has been developed by Avalanche New York, and people have kind of said, well, why is Just Cause 3 as glitchy as it is, specifically on PC, when the Mad Max port was a pretty decent port for PC? And people think it's because it's these two different studios. In actual fact, Avalanche have come back and with some kind of technical details and said, no, it's more to do with the actual engine that they're using. They're both using the Avalanche engine, but Mad Max was actually using a slightly older version, using an older lighting setup and things like that. Whereas Just Cause 3 is using a newer version of the Avalanche engine, which is more geared towards the current gen consoles and has a newer lighting system and things like that. Obviously, as I said when I was doing the reviews on that on Tuesday, I said there's probably also an element of Just Cause 3 is obviously heavily using kind of the destruction and the physics and things like that. So shit blows up, there's lots of physics, it is liable to crash the frame rate. But it also, if they are using this newer version of the Avalanche engine that's geared towards the consoles, it would also explain why the SLI isn't working. Obviously, the PC version, Square and Avalanche have come back and said, yeah, it's not very good on AMD cards, and obviously if you've got a NVIDIA card, you can't actually get it working really well on SLI, even though you'd think something that looks that good and the explosions are pretty and things like that, you think SLI would help with that, but unfortunately not. It might be because it's this newer version of the Avalanche engine that is geared towards the consoles, and obviously the consoles have only got the one graphics card in. So there's a bit of information on that. I will put a link down below when the VOD goes out, so you can actually see all the details that Avalanche have actually done. They've done a breakdown of what specifically is different. I mean, I can quickly run through it now. Where is the actual piece? So the lighting for Mad Max is using a classic deferred shading, 3G buffers, flexible lighting setup, HDR, transparency, problematic, FXAA, anti-aliasing, whereas for Just Cause 3 it's using 4G buffers, transparency with lighting just works. Yeah, as I say, I'll leave a link down below. The article that was on DSO Gaming gives you all the information and kind of CPU cycle times and things like that. So yeah, it is an interesting read. So if you are interested in finding out why Just Cause 3 is as buggy as it is, it seems to be because it's using a slightly different version of the engine. There's a patch coming, but there's no specific date as of when that will be and what exactly it will fix. But still on the topic of Avalanche and that, apparently the founder, Christopher Sundberg, I think it was, revealed in a job posting yesterday, I think this came about, that they are actually already working on 2 new projects. It was essentially, we've just released Just Cause 3, come join the company and help. And the quote is, we're working on 2 new action-packed sandbox games. So is that Just Cause 4 already? Is it Mad Max 2? Yeah, obviously those are the 2 that the studio worked on this year, so it would make sense they're potentially working on sequels already, and knowing the kind of development cycle and things like that, it would kind of make sense. But yeah, Avalanche already working on more sandbox games. I think the Avalanche New York studio is also looking for developers, and that's specifically looking for people that can create realistic character models and things like that. So yeah, there you go, more content coming from Avalanche. And we'll move on. What else have we got going on today? It's a fairly slow news day, so like I said, if there is anything out there, do let me know. You can tweet me or message me in chat or whatever. Moving on. Oh yeah, the Black Friday deals. Obviously last week it was madness, rampant consumerism everywhere, but apparently the sales figures have started to come out now. And yeah, apparently 300,000 consoles were sold during Black Friday week. 139,000 PS4s pipped, or just got over the top of Xbox One, which managed to sell 134,000. Obviously, I think this is sales figures in the UK. Don't know what Americans have managed to sell in that, but apparently 300,000 consoles were sold. Obviously, a big part of that was the whole bundle packages. I reported yesterday that obviously the Nathan Drake collection saw an increase of 999% increase in sales during Black Friday week, and that because that was a big part of the bundles for PS4. So that is probably one of the reasons. But there you go. There's 300,000 new consoles in people's homes, but it just also is telling that 139 plus 134 doesn't quite make 300. That's what 170 something. So about 20 odd thousand Wii U's must have been sold, or Wii U's, and I suppose the class consoles as other stuff like the Amazon Fire TV and all that kind of thing. So yeah, not many Wii U's were sold, but yeah, 139,000 PS4s and 134,000 Xbox Ones sold during the Black Friday week. I don't know when that actually starts, because it seemed to just start like 2 weeks ago, the sales, and they still seem to be going on now. So yeah, I don't know where Black Friday finishes, really. I don't think anybody does. Anywho, okay, what next? Oh yeah, Blast from the Past. Worms apparently has managed to sell 70 million units over its lifetime. They've managed to ship 70 million copies of the various Worms franchise. The franchise has been going for 20 odd years now, but during that time they managed to sell 70 million, box copies and downloads. And this all comes about literally just before Team 17's birthday, because they celebrate their 25th birthday on Monday, I think it is. Let me double check that. Next Monday, December 7th, yes. So there you go. Just before their 25th birthday, they've managed to ship 70 million units, which is a fairly impressive number. But you have to think, as I said, the original Worms came out way back when, 20 odd years ago, originally on the Amiga. I mean, admittedly, I think I had it on the Atari. I had an Atari ST, so yeah, that shows just how long Worms has been knocking around. But there you go, 70 million units sold, which is a fairly impressive number. I'm apologising for the quality of these news stories. There's not a lot really today. It's getting towards Christmas, so there's not a lot of games news. But another blast from the past: Resident Evil 2. Obviously, it was announced. What was it? Back in April, that Resident Evil 2 would be getting a remake, and this has kind of been simmering for a while. But of recent, there's been kind of confusion as to, okay, is this a true remake or is it a remaster? But a tweet this morning from, I think it was one of the PR guys, has said there seems to be a few people picking out the mistranslations. Resident Evil 2 will be from a ground up remake, not a remaster. So we're definitely getting a full remake of Resident Evil 2, which a lot of people will argue is probably the best Resident Evil. It's one that's held the fondest place in people's hearts, I suppose. But yes, there you go. We are definitely getting a remake and not a remaster of the Resident Evil 2 game. But I suppose while we're on the subject of old games, old for new, I suppose, Amplitude. Obviously, this got kickstarted. I can't remember exactly when it was kickstarted. It was early part of the year, tail end of last year. I think it was tail end of last year. Well, it's actually coming out fairly soon. It's actually sooner than they kind of estimated on the Kickstarter. Amplitude will be hitting PS4 through the PSN store on January 5th. Yeah, January 5th, which is sooner than they expected. And also, if you were one of the ones that kickstarted it at the $40 tier, you will actually get it even earlier than that. You'll be getting it this month, in fact. You'll getting it on the 23rd of December. So there you go. If you're looking forward to Amplitude and you've already kickstarted it, well, you're literally only a few weeks away from actually being able to play it for yourself. And a lot of people were looking forward to Amplitude. What else have we got going on? Okay, right, well, this is where I have to remember to turn the monetization off, because it's another Ninty story, and if it's anything like yesterday. Pokemon Rumble World, again, came out earlier in the year. Yes, this is one of their Nintendo's forays into microtransactions and that. Pokemon Rumble World was a free-to-start title on the 3DS. But included microtransactions. It had, you could, like, the in-game currency was something called Poke Diamonds, and 69p would buy you 50 of them, up to almost 15 quid would buy you about 1800. Well, it's getting a boxed copy, and this boxed version will be hitting shelves on January 22nd, and supposedly it will be without the microtransactions. Hopefully, if they are doing a full retail version, it should have no microtransactions in it. But we've seen numerous other games that, even though there's full retail versions, you've still got microtransactions in it. So how this will work with the actual kind of model of it, whether you'll just get an infinite number of these Poke Diamonds as if you buy the copy, or what, we don't know. But there you go. If you wanted to play Pokemon Rumble World but have no interest in microtransactions, a box version is coming, and supposedly you'll be able to play it without microtransactions. Let's continue rattling through this lot. What else? What have we got next? Right, okay. This kind of broke last night, and I got the press releases and that through today. Dontnod, the developers of Life is Strange, have announced their new project. Working with Focus Home Interactive, are releasing a vampire game called Vampyr, or however you want to pronounce it. Set in, I think it's supposed to be in period just after World War One, during the Spanish flu outbreak or something. Set in London, and you play as a doctor turned vampire, and that apparently there's supposed to be moral choices in who you kill to survive, because whoever you kill will affect the story and that. So obviously Dontnod are taking lessons from what they learned in Life is Strange, and that whole episodic. I don't know if there's actually any details on whether this will be an episodic game. It makes sense if they're following a similar model as what they did with Life is Strange. But yes, what your choices will have an impact, and it's supposedly that whole butterfly effect. If you kill somebody, obviously they're not going to be very around later on. And if this is to do with kind of plague sweeping through London, how's that going to affect the story? I don't know. But there you go. Dontnod have released more that little kind of concept art trailer. There's no actual details. I mean, literally on the website, it's just got some screenshots, of those concept art shots, and the video. There's no other information on the kind of the press site. All it says is it's a role-playing game powered by Unreal Engine 4. It's going to be released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC in some time in 2017. So it's not going to be anytime soon. We're looking at a good year or so's time. But obviously, a lot of people really loved Life is Strange, and a lot of people said this is probably doing the whole episodic choice decision type thing slightly better than Telltale have done of recent. So whether they Dontnod bring that factor into the release of Vampyr, we'll have to wait and see. But there you go. If you enjoyed Life is Strange and were wanting something that's slightly more gothic, I suppose, there you go. We're getting a new one. Whether it has also this kind of painterly art style to it, I don't know. Whether that is literally just the concept art which they've animated for the trailer. There's very little details. It is just literally this announcement. And as I say, that is pretty much it. Obviously tomorrow we have got the Game Awards. I don't know whether I'm going to stay up for that because it's quite late. I think it's like 2 o'clock in the morning or something here. But there has been a few bits and pieces of information coming out about what's going to be announced. Obviously, last week I said about Far Cry Primal is going to be shown there as one of the premieres. Also, a tweet appeared this morning from Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, apparently Shaq is heading to the Game Awards in LA to a little announcement about Shaq Fu. So this has got to be about Shaq Fu 2 or Shaq Fu Reborn or whatever it was. The ludicrous game that got kick-started. So that there is going to be an announcement that. I also heard word that there's possible announcements about Rocket League going on to Xbox One, which I kind of reported anyway because that kind of leaked with the ratings boards in Australia saying that the Xbox One version was coming. But I think that's going to get an official announcement. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see because obviously Game Awards have had a few fairly decent announcements over the last couple of years, but it's not without its controversy. I have noticed a lot of stuff in the reports early today. We're going on about how the judging is being done for the Game Awards, how it is almost like a board of journalists and media critics and things like that are picking out the winners and that, which isn't that uncommon. You got to think something like the Oscars is done by the Academy, a board of people behind closed doors that just get to see the films and then go, oh, I picked that one. Well, this is essentially what they're doing for the Game Awards. But where the controversy is coming in is the kind of the makeup of this kind of judging panel. Of the main judging panel, it's about 30 people and only one of them's female judge. So it's swayed heavily towards kind of male viewpoint, and a lot of magazine sites, editors and things like that have dropped out because they're saying it's not representative, so we're not getting involved. I think Polygon have said that, and Kotaku was... There's numerous people have said it's not represented, and also they've got like an advisory body for the esports thing that's made up of 10 people involved in the esports scene. Again, all male casts. So it's there's some controversy over the judging panel, but it's kind of what happens. Have I frozen on this? I don't know. Let me just check. If I'm still with you on Twitch, let me know. Otherwise, I've just got to pause screen here. Refresh. Am I still playing? I don't know. Still broadcasting there. Yeah, I think it's still online. It's just my laptop's playing up probably the wireless. Okay. So yeah, that is pretty much the news for today. As I said, if there is anything, do let me know. Oh, I've got tweet. Is there any information? Anything interesting? No. Okay. Yeah, so if there is anything you want me to talk about tomorrow, do let me know. If you're watching this as a VOD over on YouTube, you can obviously let us know in the comments below. Or, as I said, if you want to send us a tweet, you can do at the Kilobits. Likewise on Facebook at facebook.com/thekilobits. If you are on the YouTube channel, do check out the video I did yesterday, which is Rise and Shine, just there. Very, very cool little indie game, currently in development. I think it's slated for Q2 release next year. It's essentially a run and gun arcadey shooter type thing. There's some fairly cheesy writing in it. There's a lot of nods to kind of classic games and that, but it is definitely worth a watch because it's a lot of fun. It is a real giggle, and it feels really good to play. So I mean, the shooting mechanic it feels weighty. You're blasting this gun and you're just bouncing back from the recoil. So yes, do check that out. I can't stress enough how much fun I had playing it. So yeah, do check that out. And if you want to see more videos like this, as I said, head over to the YouTube channel if you're over on Twitch at the moment. Follow us, yeah, youtube.com/thekilobits. And if you're new to the channel, obviously you can subscribe. If you like the video, and if you want to help us out, if you want to see more content like this, if you want to see more first impressions like this, or co-op videos, whatever, do let us know. And if you want to help the channel carry on creating content like that, go over to Patreon, patreon.com/thekilobits, where you can pledge $1 or something like that, and just help us continue creating content for you guys. Alright, well, I'm going to wrap it up there. As I said, it is a fairly slow news day. I think I'm going to start struggling to find news stories between now and probably January, February time, because everybody's starting to wind down. I mean, I think a lot of the kind of major sites are starting to get into their Game of the Year mode of, working out what that is. So there's not going to be a lot of kind of big announcements. We've had all the major releases for this year, so it's going to be fairly quiet, and probably these episodes will get quite short. But do let me know how you think the daily grind's going. As I said, I'm kind of making a judgment at the end of this week whether it sticks around, if it changes or what. So yeah, do let me know again in the comments whether you want to see more content like this. Anyway, okay, I've rambled on long enough. I will let you get back to your day. Catch you later. Bye.